guys, I hope you enjoyed the new opening. So Jared from C4 Media Professionals answered the call. You remember a couple of weeks ago in the sleeting there at Rayburn, I talked about looking for somebody to help me with some of my editing, and Jared said, man, I can do it for you. And you're going to see in the actual footage of this video, he did some cool stuff. So I'm going to ask for y'all's input, so it's going to be a blending. He's going to start adding some stuff to my videos. We want to kind of keep what we've done, but we want to do the best. We want to do what you guys enjoy the most. So as you see the new ads, please comment, like it, don't like it, why don't you do this? We're real open. I know a lot of you guys watch a lot more YouTube videos than I get the chance to do because I'm editing all the time. So if you see other channels that you really enjoy, specific way they do things, man, we'd love to hear it. You're going to see right off the bat, I saw Jared greatly improved my audio and my lighting in this video. There'll be a link to his Facebook for C4 Media down below in the description. But I'm real excited about our partnership and working together, and I think it's going to give some great results for you guys as well. Do the spark drawing in a minute, but shout out to my buddy Dickie Newberry. Great job. Really exciting footage at the first FLW tour stop over on Lake Okeechobee. The dude had never been on the water before and came out of there with a 4th place finish and qualified to get into a major league fishing event. I mean, all of our dream, right? It was just really fun to watch him fish and to see how, I mean, that last day, he had kind of nothing pretty late in the day, and he just stayed with it. And I got to tell you, having fished with that guy, he is one of the most positive mental guys I've ever known. Not just, and he's got great ability to remember things throughout the day, but he just doesn't get down. He'll get mad, but he doesn't get down. And that's what you saw in that footage. He stayed positive, and he was gonna catch those fish, even late in the day when other guys had already sacked him up. And he came in with I think the 3rd biggest stringer that last day to jump from, if I remember, from 6 to 4. So congratulations, Dickie. That was so much fun. It reminds me, if y'all remember the scene in Goodfellas, when the guy finds out that his buddy, so he can't get in the mob because he's not Italian, but his buddy gets in the mob, and how excited he was. That's how I felt. I was so excited for Dickie, even though I'm not there, because it's the next best thing is one of your best friends having that kind of success up there if you can't get up there and do that. So it was great fun to watch, and I'm so proud of him. And then the last thing, I took something from that footage. I'm always looking for different baits. And I know it's weird to talk about it right now with literally parts of our lakes iced over. But real soon on Rayburn and Toledo and a lot of Texas lakes, there'll be a frog bite. And one of the most frustrating things about that frog bite is them going over the top of it and not getting it. And I'm going to get it wrong. Bobby or Chris Lane, whichever one was fishing that last day, was throwing a prop bait. And I thought, man, when I was a kid, you started out with a tiny torpedo and then you graduated to a devil's horse. And we threw them a ton and caught tons of fish on them. And he's throwing that thing. It's called a River to Seas lane changer. I'll put a picture of it right there. And it really, so I'm ordering one on Tackle Warehouse tonight. It really got me thinking. What I liked about that bait, if you go back and watch that footage, he's moving it in tiny little increments because it's got props on either end. So, and it doesn't move very far because there's so much resistance. And I'm thinking of all the times there's pockets in hay grass or around hydrilla that I can throw a bait over and not work it very far, a 5-foot pocket, but I know there's fish in there. And they'll boil on a bait and not get it. I'm going to buy one of those things because I'm thinking I can tie that on 30 or 40 or even 50-pound braid. I just looked. It's a 7/16 ounce bait, so it's almost a half an ounce. So you could throw it on braid. I'm real curious to buy a couple of these and check them out when that frog bite's going on those days when they really won't commit to the frog. So you'll be seeing me throw a River to Seas Chris Lane lane changer. Chris Lane Lane Changer, that's the name of it, somewhere in the near future. So you might check that out for yourself. I'll put a link down below to that bait as well. So let's, excuse me, let's do the spark drawing today. So remember, you can go to sparkfishing.com and sign up for service with Spark Energy and get in the 3 drawings per month. Or if you don't have the ability to do that, you can go to Spark Fishing as well. If you're already a customer, you can enter your account number and get in this drawing, one of the 3 per month. or the last drawing of the month is for everybody. So even if you're not even a Texas resident, as long as you're 18 or older and live in the United States, you can enter for this drawing. So let's see who our winner is for this week. And it is Jared Aiken, A-K-I-N, from, I'm going to assume, I can't read my own handwriting. I'm pretty sure that's Wichita Falls. So Jared, I'll reach out to you if you don't see this to let you know you've won and let you know not to throw an envelope to spark energy away, because it's going to have a $250 gift card in it for you. So let's check out my footage that Jared improved greatly of my s'more of the afternoon with Chris McLean at Classic Fiberglass. This was a video I was really excited about shooting, talking about how to fix damage you do to your boat when you need to keep fishing, or when it's 5 weeks to get your boat into the boat shop to get it fixed and you don't want to put your boat away that long and not fish out of it. So he's got 2 ways, do-it-yourself fixes to damages to your boat, one of which really surprised me. So check it out, guys. The thing I came up here to talk to you about was I tore up my boat at Fort Gibson years ago. Luckily, it was a one-day tournament. But guys go places. And I mean, I was over at Travis this past weekend, Rocky Lake. We talked about the nitro you're working on. He got on a rock over there.
Absolutely. And that punched all the way through, so he would have had a water leak.
Right. So the worst thing you can do is start a hole and keep running the boat, right?
Absolutely.
So explain what delamination means.
So when the boats are built, they're laid up in layers, and they got what they call a layup process. So they don't lay it everything up on the same time. So they'll lay it up and they'll let it start.
Just like you're doing now.
Right. So they'll let stuff kick, and then they come back and they lay. You know, most of boats are built with chop, but then they come back with woven or 1708 or something like that, and lay it in over the top on their weak points. You know, where stringers are attached or bulkheads or something are attached, and they lay it up that way. So it's done in layers. So once you fracture that and get into that fiberglass, that water, if you're running down the lake, it's more for stuff at the back of the boat. If you're up on the keel or something like that, where that keel's out of the water, it's not that big of a deal. And obviously, it soaks up water. You still don't want that.
But that's not where we hit stuff.
Right. So you got that water pushing into that cut, and eventually those layers of fiberglass are going to start separating. And you get a big enough separation and enough force in that water, it'll rip off a sheet. I mean, we've seen sheets of fiberglass ripped off that were 3 foot by 10 foot. And this doesn't matter, boat maker. It doesn't matter. It's because everybody lays their stuff up the same way. They use the same fiberglass. It's just once you get a fracture, it's a problem. And when that sheet comes off, that's what was referred to as delamination. That's right, and that's because it's a layer of glass separated, and that water got enough into it that it created a bubble, and that water kept pushing into that bubble. It's eventually going to break, and that fiberglass will fracture, and it'll rip off. And there's no telling how many pieces like that are in the bottom of these lakes. You know, it's going to sink immediately. See how that is? That's just raw fiberglass. Well, if I was to stick that into the water and just let it soak up, eventually that whole thing's wet. Well, the wetter it is, it ain't no different than your carpet or your t-shirt or anything else. You let it get wet long enough and keep drying, it's going to rot, and that's what that does. And that bad fiberglass is what starts causing the delamination. So once them sheets are laid in there like that water, you know, when you get this piece, it's just going to fly off, and then you're stuck with just dead fiberglass. All right, so I go over a T-post, take a big gouge out of the bottom of my boat, but I got to be somewhere 3 or 4 or 5 more days. Or, I mean, how many weeks right now is it for you before you can get a boat in the shop? 5 weeks. All right, so I don't want to quit fishing for 5 weeks. Right. What can I do? There's a couple different things. It depends on the hole, actually. You know, I mean, obviously, if you can reach on the bottom of your boat and check your bilge pumps, you got a problem. But there are, it's something you just don't want bad. There's 2 or 3 different things, I guess. You could go get Marine Tex, mix it, and brush some Marine Tex on it. What's Marine Tex for those of us that don't know? Marine Tex is a 2-part epoxy, basically, that it comes in a couple different colors. I think it's gray, white, and black, maybe, and but it's a pasty stuff. So you can wipe it on with a putty knife or something like that, or put it on with a paintbrush. That's an option. Not as easy to find as the other 2 options. So Walmart carries what they call an epoxy stick, and it's more like a silly putty type thing. And we got one over here.
So this is what it is.
So you can buy this at most academies or Walmart, and most any lake that you go to is going to have Academy or Walmart at it. So basically, you're going to pull that out. It's got some plastic over the top of it. The hardener part is on the inside, and you see that, and so that's all dried. But if you were to break you a piece off of it, you could roll it around in your hand and make a dough ball basically out of it, and that's going to dry hard as a rock. So once you've got a dough ball, it's real pliable, and you can put it in these crevices that you tore up on your boat. Just smash it out with your thumb, and it's going to dry, and it's going to stop your leak for you.
So again, this is the putty. The hardener's inside. It's just like when you wrap a rod, right? You put the two things together, and one creates the hardening component.
Right. That's
Mash it up in there. No sanding. Just get it in there and get it as flat as you can with a putty knife or something.
That's right. And like I say, mash it. You know, you want to mash it as far up in there as you can, in as many places as you can to keep it from coming out. And you know, as long as you don't have any hard edges for the water to grab and pull it out, you know, you want to. You know, especially from the front to the back,
right.
you want to push
Flatten
that out and make it
as
thin as you can. You know, and
again, I guess you want that spot to be as dry as you can get it before you do this. So
yeah,
take a heat gun to it.
Actually, this doesn't matter. This stuff will stick to it wet.
No
you know,
kidding.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, and you know, fiberglass. If we fiberglass, we want it dry. Our stuff will just resin won't stick to it, but this stuff will stick to, you know, anything wet as well. Third option on that would be.
By the way, this one blew my mind. That this is an option, but I want him also to say what it costs if you do this. But
yeah, so we've been seeing a bunch of boats people doing it because, you know, they don't want to wait for our time frame, so they don't want to damage their boats any further. So they put flex tape on it. Now, flex tape is a
as seen on TV.
So we had one come in the other day, flex tape on it, and
you said it was 10 feet.
10 foot. He had a 10-foot. Like a T-post scratch on the bottom and put flex tape on it. He told me he'd run it for 4 months that way, and flex tape, and it probably took us 2 hours to get the flex tape and the glue associated with the flex tape off of that area.
So the warning is, if I flex tape it, how much are you going to charge me to take that flex tape
I'll
off?
charge you a couple hours labor to get all that stuff off.
It's that hard to get it off.
It is, but I mean, like I say, most of the time it's an insurance job when they do something like that, so we'll just make the insurance company pay for it. You know? it's either that or, you know, it gets worse and the insurance company has to pay for that.
Yeah.
You know, so either way, like I say, that's a viable option. You know, you can get that at most Walmarts and stuff like that too. So I mean, throw a tube of that in your boat. You know, a tube of this and a roll of flex tape, and that'll get you through a weekend.
No kidding. I thought that was fascinating, guys. So I'm going to probably put a tube of flex tape in the back of the truck just next time I go on a trip, and I'll probably get one of those too. He said, by the way, this is about $6. I looked beforehand. I think a tube of flex tapes or a roll of flex tapes is about $15. So neither one of them is expensive option.
No, they're good insurance to have. Just to, you know, most of us, you know, are fishing one-day tournaments, but there's a lot of us that aren't. You know, that fish 2 and 3 and 4 day tournaments. And
or if you go on vacation and just go.
And absolutely, you don't want to get out there on, you know, day one and poke a hole in your boat and, you know, be down the whole time.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely good insurance.
Cool deal. All right, so flex tape. Who knew, right? I'm going to order a roll, and by the way, a link to both of those in the video description below, as well as links to C4 Media in the videos below if you want to check out some other things Jared's doing. He's got some cool stuff out there. But links to both of those products down below. And by the way, just so you know, if you buy them through that link, those I get a little support for Ken Smith Fishing, and I appreciate that. So more videos next week. Kind of hard to do a boat review when the lakes are iced over, but we got more boat reviews coming as soon as we can get back on the water. That ballistic is ready to be tested. The nitro is ready to be tested. I want to get the Vexus finished up, so we got more stuff coming and more real interesting stuff from Chris over at Classic Fiberglass as well. So thanks for tuning in, and I'm actually hoping to actually get some fishing done this weekend. I'll get that footage up as well over at Lake Fork. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next week.